Psychoanalytical. This theory of personality, developed by Sigmund Freud, is one of psychology's most influential and controversial theories. It posits that unconscious forces, early childhood experiences, and inner conflicts shape human behavior and personality. Freud's theory is centered around three main components of the mind: the id, ego, and superego. The id represents the most primitive part of the personality, driven by basic instincts and desires. It operates on the pleasure principle, seeking immediate gratification of needs and desires without considering reality or consequences. The id is present from birth and contains our most basic drives, such as hunger, thirst, and sexual desire. In contrast, the ego develops as we grow and begin to interact with the world. The ego operates on the reality principle, working to mediate the id's demands with the constraints of reality. It helps us navigate the world by considering the consequences of our actions and finding realistic ways to satisfy our needs. The ego is responsible for our sense of self and involves decision-making and problem-solving. The superego is the last component to develop, typically around age 5. It embodies our moral standards and ideals, which we learn from our parents and society. The superego strives for perfection and judges our actions, leading to feelings of pride or guilt. It acts as an internalized sense of right and wrong, guiding us to behave in socially acceptable ways. According to Freud, the interplay between the id, ego, and superego shapes our personality and behavior. He believed that much of our mental life is unconscious, meaning we are unaware of many thoughts, feelings, and desires that influence us. This unconscious mind is a reservoir of repressed memories and emotions, often stemming from early childhood experiences. Freud also introduced the concept of psychosexual development, proposing that personality develops through a series of stages in childhood. Each stage is associated with a specific erogenous zone and a conflict that must be resolved. The stages are oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. Freud believed unresolved disputes at any stage could lead to fixation, affecting adult personality and behavior. Humanist. Imagine a world where every person is like a unique flower in a garden, each blossoming to their fullest potential in its own time. This metaphor describes the essence of the humanist theory of personality, which emphasizes individual growth, self-actualization, and the inherent goodness of people. Unlike other theories that focus on the influence of unconscious forces or external factors, the humanist approach sees humans as inherently driven to achieve their highest potential and to live meaningful, fulfilling lives. The humanist theory, developed mainly by psychologists Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow, centers on the idea that every individual has an innate drive toward personal growth and self-improvement. Carl Rogers introduced the concept of the self and emphasized the importance of self-concept in personality development. According to Rogers, the self-concept comprises our perceptions of who we are based on our experiences and interactions with others. He believed that for people to grow and self-actualize, they need an environment that provides genuineness, acceptance, and empathy. This supportive environment allows individuals to explore and accept their true selves without fear of judgment. Rogers also introduced unconditional positive regard, the acceptance and love one receives from others without conditions or judgments. This concept is important for healthy personality development as it helps individuals develop a positive self-concept and self-worth. When people experience unconditional positive regard, they feel free to express themselves authentically and pursue their true potential. Abraham Maslow, another vital figure in humanistic psychology, developed the hierarchy of needs, a motivational theory that outlines the stages of growth in humans. Maslow's hierarchy is often depicted as a pyramid, with basic physiological needs like food and water at the base, followed by safety needs, love and belongingness, esteem, and self-actualization at the top. According to Maslow, individuals must satisfy lower-level needs before moving on to higher-level needs. Trait. Personality can often feel like a complex puzzle, with each piece representing different characteristics that, when assembled, create a unique individual. This concept is at the heart of the trait theory of personality, which seeks to identify and measure the various traits that make up our personalities. Trait theory suggests that our personalities are composed of attributes that uniquely form who we are. The trait theory of personality is strongly linked to psychologists like Gordon Allport, Raymond Cattell, and Hans Eysenck. Gordon Allport was among the first to delve into the nature of personality traits, distinguishing between central traits, fundamental to an individual's personality, and secondary traits, which are more situation-specific and less consistent. Allport believed that while everyone shares specific common characteristics, the unique combination and expression of these traits make each person distinct. Building on Allport's work, Raymond Cattell utilized factor analysis to identify 16 personality factors, known as the 16 PF. Cattell's approach was more empirical and structured, aiming to quantify personality traits and understand how they interact. He believed analyzing these 16 factors could provide a comprehensive picture of an individual's personality. Hans Eysenck, another prominent figure in trait theory, proposed a different approach by focusing on 3 broad dimensions of personality: extroversion, introversion, neuroticism, emotional stability, and later psychoticism. Eysenck suggested that these dimensions were biologically based and could explain various behaviors. For example, extroversion involves being outgoing and energetic, while introversion involves being reserved and reflective. Neuroticism is associated with emotional instability and anxiety, whereas emotional stability refers to being calm and composed. Psychoticism, which Eysenck added later, includes traits related to aggressiveness and interpersonal hostility. Behaviorist. Much like a young child exploring the world and absorbing every experience in detail, the behaviorist theory of personality suggests that our personalities are largely shaped by our interactions with the environment and the behaviors we learn from these experiences. Instead of focusing on internal thoughts or unconscious motives, behaviorists emphasize observable actions and the external factors influencing them. The behaviorist theory is deeply rooted in the work of John B. Watson and B.F. Skinner. John B. Watson, often considered the father of behaviorism, argued that psychology should focus on observable behavior rather than unobservable mental states. He believed that behavior could be measured, trained, and changed. Watson's famous experiment with little Albert demonstrated how emotions could be conditioned. By associating a loud noise with a white rat, he conditioned a young boy to fear the rat, illustrating how environmental stimuli could shape emotional responses. B.F. Skinner expanded on Watson's ideas, developing the theory of operant conditioning. Skinner proposed that behavior is influenced by the consequences that follow it. He introduced the concept of reinforcement, which increases the likelihood of a behavior being repeated, and punishment, which decreases it. For example, if a child receives praise or positive reinforcement for doing their homework, they are more likely to repeat this behavior. Conversely, if a child is scolded or punished for not doing their homework, they are less likely to repeat the undesired behavior. Skinner's work with pigeons and rats in controlled environments known as Skinner's boxes demonstrated how reinforcement and punishment could shape complex behaviors over time. Behaviorists also emphasize the importance of social learning, a concept further developed by Albert Bandura. Bandura introduced the idea of observational learning, suggesting that people can learn new behaviors by observing others. His famous Bobo doll experiment showed that children who observed adults behaving aggressively toward a Bobo doll were likelier to exhibit similar aggressive behaviors. This demonstrated that our environment and the behavior of those around us significantly influence our actions and personality development. Social cognitive. Just as a mirror reflects not only our actions but also our thoughts, beliefs, and the influences of those around us, so does social cognitive theory of personality. According to this theory, our personalities are shaped by continuous interaction between mental processes, behaviors, and social environments. The social cognitive theory pioneered by Albert Bandura expands upon traditional behaviorist principles by incorporating cognitive processes and observational learning. Bandura proposed that individuals learn through direct experience, observing others and modeling their behaviors. This process, known as observational learning or modeling, allows people to acquire new behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions simply by observing others in their environment. For example, children often learn social skills, language, and cultural norms by observing and imitating adults and peers. Bandura also introduced the concept of self-efficacy, which plays a central role in social cognitive theory. Self-efficacy refers to an individual's belief in their capability to execute behaviors and achieve desired outcomes. Higher self-efficacy leads to greater motivation, persistence, and reliance in the face of challenges, while lower self-efficacy can result in self-doubt and avoidance of complex tasks. Bandura demonstrated the influence of self-efficacy in various domains, showing how it affects academic performance, career success, health behaviors, and psychological well-being. According to social cognitive theory, our personalities are not fixed traits, but are continually shaped and refined through ongoing interactions with our social environment. These interactions include direct experiences, observations, and interpretations of others' behaviors, and the feedback we receive from them. For instance, parents, teachers, peers, and media feedback can influence our self-perceptions, beliefs about the world, and behaviors. Biological. This theory of personality draws upon research in genetics, neuroscience, and physiology to explore how biological factors contribute to individual differences in personality. One key aspect is genetics, which suggests that personality traits may be inherited through genetic transmission, from parents to offspring. Studies with twins and adopted children have provided evidence for the heritability of specific characteristics, such as extroversion and neuroticism. Genetic factors contribute to the predisposition of individuals towards certain behaviors and temperaments, influencing how they interact with their environment and develop their personalities over time. Neuroscience plays a vital role in understanding biological theories of personality, focusing on the structure and function of the brain. Research has identified brain regions and neural circuits associated with different personality traits and behaviors. At the same time, differences in serotonin levels have been associated with mood regulation and emotional stability traits. Hormones also contribute significantly to biological theories of personality, influencing behaviors and emotional responses. For instance, testosterone is linked to traits such as dominance and aggression, while cortisol levels are associated with stress responses and resilience. Hormonal fluctuations throughout development and life stages can shape personality characteristics and predispositions. Biological theories of personality also consider the impact of physiological factors such as brain injuries or abnormalities on personality development and expression. Damage to specific brain areas can alter cognitive functions and emotional responses, leading to changes in behavior and personality traits. Conversely, neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and adapt, plays a role in how individuals learn and change their behaviors over time.